Welcome back to Diversity in Central Ohio. It's a program Community Relations Commission. For those of you just joining in, we're talking tonight about a topic, DiversAbility, and looking at disability community, some of our leaders, and particularly around the topic of employment. We started our show with some people already in the work field and some pioneers, if you would, and now we're going to kind of shift to the newer generation, the trailblazers of now. And with me is my co-host for tonight and friend and one of our longtime commissioners of the Community Relations Commission, Tykia Wright. And Tykia, tell us a little bit more about, you mentioned in the first half, DiversAbility, the tome. Tell us a little bit about that.
DiversAbility is a word that brings together diversity and disability. And it's a word that we use to make sure that the audience and the companies and the community at large understand that people with disabilities are just a part of diversity. And we are a major piece of the diversity picture. So when we say DiversAbility, that's just including us in the diversity picture.
Okay, and we have more than just a name, don't we?
Yes, we have more than just a name. We actually have a physical publication. DiversAbility Ohio launched this summer, and we're really excited about the impact of the publication. The publication is designed to celebrate the leadership and accomplishments of people with disabilities in the workforce all across the state of Ohio. And within that publication, we have a section dedicated to the next generation.
And we're going to meet some of those folks.
And we're going to meet some of them right now. We have to my left, Ms. Sakura Quiros, and she is a graduate of Otterbein College. And then we have Tracy Schalk, who is a recent graduate of The Ohio State University. You have to throw the V in.
You got to get the V in there.
Don't ever forget that. Very important. And then we have Mr. Josiah Lanning, who is currently a senior at The Ohio State University, huge Buckeye fan. I saw Josiah at a basketball game. It was Ohio State versus Wright State. Oops. Of course, Wright State didn't win. But it was very good and very fun to go to the basketball game and see Josiah there. The one thing that all these individuals have in common, they have all gone through the Right Choice program. We've placed them into internships, and they've all just kind of gotten their exposure to what it means to be in the employment setting at various times. So let's let Sakura introduce herself, and then we'll talk about diversity.
Sure. Okay. Sakura, tell us about yourself.
My name is Sakura Quiros, and I am a graduate from Otterbein University. I graduated as a double major, psychology and sociology. And my main goal is to one day be able to assist individuals who are facing an array of issues because of homelessness and poverty. And hopefully one day go back to school.
We've already had a little off-camera chat about that. I was given some advice. You have done a variety of internships.
Yes.
And I was awed at what your day looked like. You went from Maryhaven, which is a drug and alcohol and mental health facility, is that correct?
Yes.
Then you would move on to, I can't hardly read my own handwriting, the Center for Child Advocacy, is that correct?
Child and Family Advocacy.
And tell us a little bit about what happened there.
Well, with that organization, we basically helped children who had been faced with issues of physical or sexual abuse. I did two things in that organization. One was like in the playroom, taking care of the children while they were with the doctors and stuff. And then in a different summer, what I did was I worked with the Coalition Against Family Violence, and I basically read articles, and I assisted the director in terms of like what the articles were about and how we could better that organization.
You also bring some other unique talent, well, unique, but certainly helpful talents to the arena. And in addition to your education, you have a bicultural and bilingual, is that correct?
Yes.
And is that coming into your professional life?
Very much so. I was originally from Mexico, so I am bilingual. And as a native Spanish speaker, I'm able to connect with individuals on a more personal level, something that definitely cannot be learned through books.
Yeah. And it must be so comforting for the children who are already hurt and scared to be able to connect in their own language and have some familiarity.
Yes, definitely.
That's a wonderful talent that you and skill you bring to that. It's wonderful that you're pursuing that.
Thank you.
Tracy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a recent graduate of the Ohio State University.
The Ohio State University.
I graduated in June with a major in political science and a minor in disability studies. And over the summer, I did an internship at the Ohio Civil Rights Commission, thanks to Tykea and Right Choice. And I also worked for the Rehabilitation Services Commission over the summer part-time, so I went from one to the other.
And you're about to start a profession, I understand.
Yes, I just got hired as a vocational rehab case coordinator for an MRDD board that is a VRP3 with RSC.
We're talking in initials.
Rehabilitation
We do got
Services,
social worker and government types.
Rehabilitation Services Commission is RSC. Okay. So I'm quit RSC, but I'm working for somebody who's working for RSC.
Okay. So. And for those who aren't familiar, what vocational rehab means what?
To help people with disabilities achieve employment versus sheltered workshops. Okay. So the governor has what he calls Employment First Initiative, and so that is will be part of my position and part of Rehabilitation Services Commission's goal, and it always has been to get people with disabilities into jobs instead of in sheltered workshops or just sitting at home. The goal is employment. Very
much what the first set of panelists was talking about, getting
yeah.
folks out there and working and becoming self-sufficient and all yes. that. I'm not forgetting about you, Josiah, but we've got a phone call, so let's take that before we lose the folks. Caller, do you have a question or a comment?
Yes. First of all, I'd like to say congratulations, Tykea, on this wonderful publication and your red carpet event. It was fabulous, and if you could talk a little bit about that, since the people on your panel are included in the publication and were celebrated that night, that would be great. And then secondly, I have given away my 3 copies to people who wanted them, and I want to know, how do I purchase additional copies?
Excellent
Thanks
question.
so much. I'm going to hang up, and congratulations.
Thank you,
everyone there.
Well, the red carpet event that she's referring to was our launching of DiversAbility Ohio. It was on August the 3rd at the Hilton Easton, and it was a black tie gala, and it was so awesome to bring together individuals in the community at large, but more importantly, people with disabilities, and have everyone dressed up in their tuxedos and in their fancy dresses, and to see them come out to be celebrated for their leadership and accomplishments, not because they're different, but because they're doing things in the workforce, and this was a platform for us to tell their stories. And we're really excited to have the professionals, the seasoned professionals, but to also have our young talent being featured in the publication so that employers can have a go-to resource.
Absolutely.
To see, what type of talent is out there being developed, but also have a source to see what are other employers doing around disability inclusion, and how can they maybe model some of the best practices. The publication is currently available online, and the website is www.DiversAbilityOhio.com. And we are excited about the launching and expect for it to do big and great things in Ohio, and then take it from state to state ultimately.
This will become an ongoing publication.
An ongoing publication annually that will then launch in other states, because there's 54 million people across the United States with disabilities today. And we've got to tell their stories in a platform where their voices can be heard.
Absolutely. Well, great. Josiah, we didn't forget about you.
You're fine.
We're coming back to you.
I'm a 5th-year senior at The Ohio State University. I'm majoring in security and intelligence, minor in military science. After graduating this spring, I hope to attend the law school, hopefully at The Ohio State University. After attending law school, I hope to get a job dealing with national security, whether it be as an analyst, statesman, or just wherever I can help out and do my part.
How did you get interested in that? You're the first person I've met who's named that as a major, I can tell you that.
After 9/11, 9/11 was a game changer for me. I always wanted to serve, but obviously I can't serve in the military because I have a disability. Policeman was kind of out of the question too. And after 9/11, the Department of Homeland Security was created, so that kind of furthered my interest in getting involved. And then I transferred from Columbus State to Ohio State, and I found out they had a security and intelligence program through the International Studies program, so I got involved with that. and haven't looked back since.
No, it sounds like, yeah. Well, very good.
Josiah also participated in our pre-professional law program.
Okay.
a
We've
couple-
had some interns in our shop as well
Yeah,
for that.
you
I heard you
have.
say OCRC. I'm like, well, why didn't you come to the CRC? We're a little jealous right now.
Josiah, you want to talk a little bit about the pre-professional law program?
Sure. I had the privilege of doing the pre-professional law program through Right Choice. It gave me experience with different law firms. Basically, gave me a chance to try them out, find out what I liked, what I didn't like, and I have to admit, it did further my interest in law, and is probably one of the reasons that I'm still pursuing to go to law school.
Fantastic. So it was a good experience for you.
Good experience. It helped me weed out what I did like, what I don't like. It's not like I'm trying something out when I start working. I know what I like, and know what I want to. No offense, I know what I want to avoid.
Yeah.
So I can go after what I want.
That's great. Surprises? Was it the field different than what maybe you thought from the outside, or what was the value? Beyond. I mean, you said what the value was, but what did you really sink your teeth into that may have changed your path a little?
It was nice just to get to see what goes on, because everybody knows the title lawyer, courtroom, but there's stuff that goes on behind the scenes, like building your case, getting the evidence together, whatever it's for. You have to have a case for what you're arguing.
Sure.
And how the cases are built. And then also we got a chance to go inside the courtroom for a week and see what goes on inside the courtroom, and that was interesting as well.
Very good, very good. My question, I guess, I'm really thinking a lot right now about your internship opportunities and the impacts they had on you. And you've all, spoken, just looking at your resumes, I can see this had such big impacts on you. But what advice would you give other folks who are, thinking about the internship program, maybe never thought about it before? What do you have to say to, young folks about this kind of programming and about, participating in Right Choice programming? I got it that time.
If you can participate, it's a great opportunity. It gave me the ability to see my degree in action. I hadn't had a lot of one-on-one experience with people who had bachelor's degrees in political science and related degrees, and so it gave me that, real-world experience and to see what other people with the degree can do other than go to law school, because most people with my degree go on to law school, and I'm not really ready to pursue a law degree. So it was great to be in the working world with people who had similar backgrounds.
I mean, I know you were interning, but what at OCRC really struck you? What was there that caught your eye, or that may have changed your direction at all? And I'm sorry, I'm doing the initial thing now. OCRC is Ohio Civil Rights Commission.
I think being at the Ohio Civil Rights Commission was really good because I got to see firsthand what they do, and the OCRC actually was a big part of my life when I was little. My mom had to file a suit with them when I was little to get my school accessible, so it was neat to see from the other side what the process is to from the time the claim is filed until the time it's either closed, resolved, or ruled that discrimination did happen. And some of the things that I saw were really devastating. People's lives were destroyed from discrimination, and it was just heartbreaking.
Takara?
I definitely think that doing internships and committing to volunteer work is a great opportunity, not only to be able to participate in things such as this, but as well as being connected with the community, networking, and having the ability and the opportunity to connect with individuals that you might not get a chance to do if you don't try these different things.
Yeah. And I know as an employer, the real world experience that folks like yourselves who come with is invaluable. You've been tested, you've been, tried, kind of thing. And I know, just from the years of working together, I know a lot of it's expected of you through Right Choice as well. So we, on our side, know that screening is, when Taikia sends us someone, we know the caliber of what we expect. So I'm saying that on all, because I know you're going to all go out and look for jobs here, except for you already found one. But letting people know that these are not lightly screened folks. It's a tough program. It's not, you don't just let anyone in, do you? I get that impression sometimes. So wonderful, wonderful. And it's a national program as well, is that correct?
It's local, but we've gained national attention.
We had an intern this summer from Miami, University of Miami.
Absolutely.
Florida, not
she
Ohio.
came from University of Miami, Florida,
Yeah.
to participate in the pre-professional law program.
Yeah.
This is the second year that we've brought someone in from out of state that participated in the pre-law program.
Fantastic, fantastic. So we heard from some folks in the field, about their experiences and what they've dealt with. I want to kind of, get a sense from you guys. Are things better? Are things worse? What challenges that you heard them reflect upon are you dealing with or not dealing with? Particularly, I think, in the educational setting. Let's talk a little bit about that, since you're all either recently out of or currently in the university setting. What were your thoughts? What was that experience like?
I would say, even though things aren't at the greatest right now, things have definitely improved over the years thanks to the Americans with Disabilities Act. There's still a long way to go, but there is progress being made. I know I've found different problems at being at The Ohio State University. There are some buildings that may not be as accessible as others, but working with disability services at Ohio State, they're more than willing to help try to accommodate your needs and make sure it works.
Yeah, we've had Scott Lissner from OSU on the program several times in several settings, and a very dynamic, very
smart individual.
Yeah, forward-thinking guy. I'm always very impressed. Takia, Ohio State, is that a school you work with extensively, or?
Yes, we work with a lot of students from the Ohio State University. We work with, whether they're from the business college or College of Engineering, or they've got a million colleges within the Ohio State University, but we do work with a number of students from there.
A lot of, and the work I'm in is diversity training, is one of my primary products, and a lot of what I try to work with groups in diversity training is stereotype busting, right? Myth busting, stereotype busting. So here's this panel of young professional, pre-professional folks. Help me with that job. What message do you want to give to folks watching about yourselves, about your abilities, about the community you're representing today, that they need to know?
I would say I can speak firsthand experience. Just because somebody looks a little bit different, may act a little bit different, they still have a special skill set that they have to offer to the community to make it better for everybody. So just because they look different, try not to exclude them, give them an equal opportunity and an equal chance to succeed.
Very nice.
I think I would say don't look at the disability and assume the word can't. Assume can first. Let me prove to you what I can do before you assume what I can't do.
So really get to know the person in front of you. And, isn't that just true in general, right? And when we talk about diversity work, I think so much of it now is just what's really in front of you, not what you think is in front of you. So let people identify. I like that. Sorry, I did it again. I'm going to keep calling you your middle name, and I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm sorry, Sakara.
It's okay.
I owe you big on that one.
It's okay.
You a double major, 3 opportunities and internships. What messages do you want to let people know about someone like yourself?
I think just giving me the opportunity to show you what I'm capable of. And not just because I want to prove that I can do it because I have a disability, but because I want to prove to everyone that I can do it because I have both the experience and the education and the willingness and determination to be able to do whatever I set my mind to do.
What I'm picking up from all of you is passion, which is something that's very hard to train, right? Teach.
I think one of the things you acquire, at least I can say as a person with a disability, one of the things you learn to acquire, you're forced to acquire one way or another, is a sense of perseverance. Yeah. Somebody tells you you can't do it, you find a way to make it happen. You don't let somebody tell you, you can't do this, you make it happen. You don't let it hold you back.
Yeah. It's interesting that you use the word perseverance. I was just reading a big, hot topic right now is emotional intelligence. A lot of people are talking about that. And one of the qualities they talk a lot about is resiliency. So while none of you have said it, I'm going to say for you, here's some folks with really already proven their mettle, right, when it comes to resiliency, because you've all talked about challenges, and you've overcome those challenges to be where you are today. So I'm going to say then, as a prospective employer, right, and can I assume resiliency? You just told me don't assume too much, but sounds like you all have that under your belt. Yeah. The prior group, already out in the work field, spoke to having to work harder, they said. Generally have to work harder than folks, prove themselves even more. Do you feel that's true? Kind of a different, younger generation, a slightly different angle. Is that true in your lives?
Yeah, sometimes I think that people expect me not to work as hard as anybody else or not achieve what my peers have, and I can do it and don't expect less of me just because I have a disability.
You don't want us to lower the bar for you. You're gonna do what needs done.
Yes.
Okay.
I would say I'm one to try and push it and exceed. exceed the bar, not to be an overachiever, but just because I want to do better. I want to set the bar for everybody else as a person with a disability to set an example for those that come after me.
Wow, okay. That's a lot to, you're not just thinking on your own
It's not
self.
easy, but somebody's got to do it.
That's a great attitude. That's a great attitude.
And I think, like, from the very beginning, I'm very clear that I am very independent and I am very capable of doing everything that I want to do. Just give those individuals an opportunity to show you that they can do it on their own. And I'm the kind of person that if I definitely need help, I'm not going to hesitate to ask, but just give me the opportunity to do it on my own first.
Okay. Wow. I'm so impressed. I usually don't go there, but I got to tell you, I'm a little intimidated. I'm like, boy, I'm going to compete with you guys for jobs now. This is not a happy thought.
The month of October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and that is a national celebration. And the theme for this month is inclusiveness, including people with disabilities into the workforce. But the challenge that they have within the theme, speaking to employers, is what can you do? I love it when I read that challenge, what can you do? Because it's a deliberate question that they're asking employers, what can you do? So if we ask you, what can employers do to include people with disabilities into the workforce or to level that playing field?
It's a good question. Anyone want to stab at that one?
I would say to give everybody an equal opportunity. It sounds simple, but sometimes I know people previously that were on the panel before us said that sometimes they'll try to help out when you don't even let us try to do it ourselves. We can do it. We may look a little different, talk a little different, but we can do a whole lot on our own. And if you'll just give us a chance, we'll prove what we can do. And then if we need help, we'll let you know for the most part.
Okay. Tracy, any thoughts on that?
I think a way to level the playing field is to talk about the disability. Don't avoid it just because I think that bugs me. I'm obviously physically disabled and I can't avoid that fact, and I'm not gonna try to pull the wool over your eyes. So don't avoid the conversation. If you have a question, just ask it. Most of us are not going to be offended unless you ask it intentionally to be offensive or to be rude.
Okay. So it's nothing new, we don't have to whisper about it. It's nothing
No, no.
Right, okay.
And if you think I can't do something, ask.
Okay, okay.
I think definitely being comfortable with asking. I mean, I've had people say, "Oh, do you have multiple sclerosis?" Or like they'll just guess what I have. I was
Good
like,
luck
no.
with that, huh?
Just the same with guessing where I'm from. Just asking, just simply being straightforward, and asking what your concerns and questions are, and we're definitely going to be able to answer those.
I told you, you've heard me say in the first one, I have young children. And I often see where young kids don't have, any filters, right? But, when they say, well, Mommy, why is that man in a chair? Shh. And I'm always thinking, is that a secret? Is that, I think he knows, right? I mean, so why is that? Why do you think people react that way?
I don't.
I'm sorry, we're doing hand signals.
I don't like when parents tell their kids not to ask questions because it's teaching them that difference is wrong. And that's not right. I mean, being in a wheelchair may be different from walking, but it teaches a child that that's bad. Okay. Or that the way I walk is different, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just what it is. Okay. And so they should be invited to ask questions because they're curious.
Especially with little children.
And that's your client base, right? You've done a lot of work there.
Yeah. Just recently, I was at the store and this little kid was like, "Mommy, why can she go so fast?" And she was like, "Well, she's just good like that." And so definitely being able to allow the kids to ask the questions and give them the opportunity to even ask them, the individual, so they're not afraid.
So we need to lessen the lack of information, right? I mean, not just kids, adults too, I'm going to say. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's okay to say, hey, I don't understand something, or I don't know, or can you share something?
Go ahead.
Please.
I think not getting questions answered and just leaving those questions lingering in people's minds adds to growth of stereotypes.
Yeah.
People assume and don't really know the answers to the questions, so they try to fill it themselves, and often it's not exactly right.
Okay.
And even from an employment setting, we were at a conference yesterday that RSC did called the Disability Job Summit. And in one of the workshops that I did, the question came up in terms of disability disclosure. And when you're in an interview, when and how should you disclose your disability. And it really is a personal level, a personal decision. But if you have a physical disability, when you go into that interviewer's mind is clouded with, can she do it, can he do it? You know, all these what ifs. So they're probably not even paying attention to you and to your interview. So I always encourage my students that have physical disabilities to disclose or to find a way to interject what their abilities and how they can accomplish the tasks that are set forth by that job description. So that will alleviate any of the worries and concerns that that employer may have at that point in time, so that they can then freely and clearly listen to you and engage in the interview with you. So absolutely, you know, you want to make sure that, you know, if you have that comfort level to talk about your disability when you're in an interview setting, to kind of alleviate some of those questions, because if you don't, the employer is going to walk away with all the questions in their head, and that's going to translate into you not getting a job.
Okay, we're coming to the end of our segment. I just want to give anyone an opportunity. Any last words? Any wisdom? You're such wise beyond your years. What do you want folks to know as you kind of leave here today? Any messages? What one thing you want folks to know, Josiah?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the both of you for having us on this panel tonight.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
I would just like to say that basically the theme that's been echoed all night, just be willing to give everybody an equal chance. Because if you give us a chance, we'll show what we can do. I know my expertise, being security intelligence at Ohio State, is dealing with Middle East issues. So if you need anything with Middle East issues or international issues, just give me a call and we can talk.
Absolutely.
Okay. Tracy, you're about to start your career. Any words of advice to those coming in behind you?
Be persistent with, you know, putting your resume out there and calling back and see if you can get an interview. And work with Right Choice. I've learned so much over the summer because of them. Probably the reason I have the job.
Very good. Hey, that's as good advice as I can hear. And of course, to Carl, any final thoughts that you have?
I guess just giving me the opportunity, because I have many things to offer. I have insight not only as a person with a disability, but as a woman, as an individual who is both Mexican American. I have a lot to bring, and please do not let my disability make you think twice.
Just see part of that picture.
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful.
Well, I have one final announcement.
Please.
And I'm very excited about the opportunity to keynote the statewide launch, or the statewide celebration for National Disability Employment Awareness Month that RSC sponsors every year. It will be October the 10th at the State House. So I'll encourage you to call RSC and get all the information and come out and attend.
Great. You've been watching Diversity in Central Ohio. I'm Neal Semel with Tykeia Wright, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.